Most are really positive, just saying that uh, they like watching me on the show and they like the show and all that stuff. So
For 11 seasons, Ice Road Truckers was more than just a TV show. It was a phenomenon. We weren't just watching trucks on ice. We were getting a weekly look into one of the most dangerous jobs on the planet. Millions of us tuned in, not just to see 80,000-pound rigs slide over frozen lakes, but for the people behind the wheel. These weren't just drivers, they were characters, shaped by the brutal Alaskan and Canadian wilderness. And at the heart of it all stood two absolute legends who came to define the series, Lisa Kelly and Alex Debogorski. He was the undeniable patriarch of the ice roads, the legendary storyteller with a booming laugh and decades of experience. She was the trailblazer, the determined woman who shattered stereotypes and proved that grit has no gender. For years, we watched them as colleagues, two pros sharing the same frozen office. But what the cameras showed us was only part of the story. The neat narrative crafted for TV smoothed over the complicated realities and the unspoken pressures that truly defined their time on the show. For years, they were the stars of the ice roads, but new revelations are changing everything fans thought they knew. We're about to explore the long, complex history between Lisa Kelly and Alex Debogorski, uncovering the professional pressures that shaped their time on the show. The truth of what really happened between these two is finally coming out, and it's a story of two different worlds colliding under the glare of the reality TV spotlight. While Lisa Kelly and Alex Debogorski often appeared as colleagues navigating the same treacherous ice, the reality of their relationship was far more complex than what we saw on camera. Now, the truth is coming to light, and it's not a story of a big, dramatic feud. It's a story of silent pressures, different paths, and the crushing weight of being a TV star in a world that demands authenticity while manufacturing drama. Before, it was a hit show. Ice road trucking was an almost mythical profession. It was a high-stakes gamble where truckers hauled essential supplies to remote mines and communities across the frozen lakes and rivers of Canada and Alaska. These weren't highways. They were temporary lifelines carved out of ice, existing for only a few months a year. The job was, and still is, one of the most dangerous on Earth. One wrong move, a moment of lost focus, and the groan of cracking ice could mean disaster. When the History Channel dropped Ice Road Truckers in 2007, it tapped into a raw, unseen world. The premise was simple but incredibly compelling. Follow a group of drivers as they risk it all on these frozen roads. It was an instant hit, becoming the most watched show in the channel's history at the time. We were all mesmerized by the danger. We watched, holding our breath, as massive rigs crawled along impossibly narrow paths, their tires inches from disaster. But the show's real secret weapon wasn't just the spectacle, it was the people. The producers knew the trucks were only half the story. The real drama, the heart of the series, was with the drivers. These were ordinary people doing an extraordinary job, a cast of characters as rugged as the landscape they drove through. You had the hothead, the veteran, the rookie, and the family man. Each had their own reasons for taking on such a punishing career. The show was brilliant at building these characters. Through interviews, footage from inside the cabs, and clever editing, you felt like you really knew these truckers. You shared their frustration when a truck broke down in 40-degree weather, their anxiety during a white-knuckle crossing, and their relief when they finally made it. The show didn't just show you a job, it showed you a way of life. Behind the curtain, though, a different reality was at play. The show was still a TV production, and ratings demand drama. Other truckers in the region often called out the show for exaggerating the dangers and staging events. Former cast members later talked about how producers would push for arguments or create scenarios just to get a reaction. The famous opening sequences with trucks falling through the ice, often, those were stage visuals to hook you in. This mix of real risk and manufactured drama created a pressure cooker. The drivers weren't just battling the elements, they were battling the demands of reality TV. And into this high-stakes world, two of the show's biggest legends would emerge. Long. Before Hollywood came calling, Alex Debogorski was already a legend in the Canadian North. He was the real deal, a man who had been driving the ice roads for 26 years before the show even existed. Born in Alberta to Polish immigrants, Alex's life was one of hard work from the start. He was a prospector, a coal miner, a taxi driver, a bouncer. By his own count, he was always working 2 or 3 jobs at once. This wasn't a guy who just decided to try trucking. He was forged by the rugged lifestyle of the North. When he and his wife Louise moved to Yellowknife in 1976, they started a life that was as full as it was challenging. They raised 11 children, and Alex's identity was built on being a family, man and a provider. His stories from before the show are the stuff of folklore. He talks about surviving bar fights, working dangerous mines, and always taking the toughest jobs. This experience gave him a rock-solid confidence and a philosophical view on the dangers of his work. For Alex, the ice road wasn't a TV set. It was his office. So when Ice Road Truckers producers went looking for authentic drivers, all roads led to Alex. With his larger-than-life personality, infectious laugh, and a natural gift for storytelling, he was TV gold. From the first episode, he became the soul of the show, its wise, cheerful patriarch. He was the only cast member to appear in all 11 seasons, which tells you everything you need to know about his popularity. We were all drawn to his endless supply of stories, his folksy wisdom, and his calm attitude when things got dicey. Alex leaned into the role of the ice road sage. He understood that his job wasn't just to drive, but to be a character, to entertain, and he was great at it. He'd share stories about his big family, his Catholic faith, and his decades of experience, all while driving on some of the most dangerous roads in the world. He became the audience's guide to this frozen world. The fame was something Alex handled with his classic mix of humor and practicality. He published a successful book, King of the Road, True Tales from a Legendary Ice Road Trucker, and became a public speaker and an ambassador for the trucking industry. But even as a celebrity, he never lost sight of who he was. A husband, a father of 11, and a man who drove trucks long before it was considered entertainment. He represented the old guard, the seasoned veteran who had seen it all, a stark contrast to the hungry, ambitious new driver who was about to join him in the spotlight. While Alex was the established king of the ice roads, Lisa Kelly was a revolutionary, new force. When she joined in Season 3, she completely changed the show's dynamic. As the first woman driver featured, she was a trailblazer in a man's world. But Lisa was never just about breaking barriers. She was about proving her skill and toughness in a job she loved. Her path to the big rigs was anything but ordinary. Born in Michigan, she moved to a small farm in Alaska at age 6, which gave her a sense of independence and a love for the wild. She didn't plan on being a trucker. She drove a school bus, worked at a gas station, and delivered pizzas. But during those jobs, she discovered she loved being on the road. An adrenaline junkie at heart, she also became a state freestyle motocross champion, which helped her hone her mechanical skills and fearlessness. Deciding she wanted a real career, Lisa was drawn to trucking because it just looked interesting. She got her CDL and landed a job with Carlisle Transportation, a major Alaskan company famous for taking on the toughest routes. The challenge was huge. As a woman in a male-dominated field, she knew she had to outwork everyone. She famously said, "I had to work twice as hard. I had to pull my weight and everybody else's and get the job done as fast or faster." That work ethic defined her. She wasn't asking for special treatment. She was demanding to be judged on her ability. When Ice Road Truckers came calling, Lisa was hesitant. She was a trucker, not a TV star. But her arrival in 2009 was a game-changer for the series. Viewers were instantly captivated. Here was a woman who was not only skilled, but also had a quiet, no-nonsense charisma. She didn't need the loud bravado of some of her male co-stars. She let her driving do the talking. She quickly became a fan favorite, admired for her courage and her calm. Under pressure, the show launched her to a level of fame she never expected. She was on late-night talk shows and was even dubbed the sexiest trucker alive by a magazine, a title she found funny but irrelevant. But behind the fame, a darker reality was setting in. She later revealed that she felt she was initially hired to be eye candy for ratings, a shocking revelation that highlighted the exact attitude she'd been fighting her whole career. Still, she persevered, showing up season after season, proving her worth with pure skill. Her journey wasn't just about driving. It was about constantly proving herself to the audience, the industry, and maybe even the producers. She was a symbol of a changing landscape, an icon whose rise was built on grit and a refusal to be underestimated. On screen, Lisa Kelly and Alex Debogorski were professional colleagues. They were two pillars of the Ice Road Truckers universe, often on the same roads, but their paths rarely crossed in a major way. Unlike Lisa's close, sibling-like bond with the late Darryl Ward, her interactions with Alex felt more like distant co-workers who respected each other's space. Alex was the show's storyteller, dispensing wisdom from his cab. Lisa was the action hero, defined by her intense focus, especially during her groundbreaking runs on Deadliest Roads in the Himalayas. This on-screen dynamic, however, was just a TV product. The truth about their relationship isn't some hidden feud. It's found in the fundamentally different pressures they each faced. The real story is what the cameras couldn't show: the clash of two different generations, two different work philosophies, and two vastly different reactions to fame. Alex, the veteran of both the road and life, came with a built-in story. He was the family man, the old-timer who'd earned his stripes decades ago. His job was to be the steady, entertaining anchor. While filming had its pressures, he talked about the loss of privacy. He seemed to handle it as just another strange chapter in an already full life. He leaned into his public persona, using the show to share his stories and connect with fans. For Alex, the show was an extension of his life's work. For Lisa, the experience was profoundly different. The pressure she faced was unique and, at times, crushing. As the only woman on the show for several seasons, she felt she had to represent all women in trucking every time she started the engine. This brought a level of scrutiny her male co-stars never faced. Plus, the feeling that she was first hired as eye candy speaks volumes about the professional environment she had to overcome. She wasn't just fighting the ice, she was fighting to be seen as a legitimate pro in a system that may have initially viewed her as a novelty. The strain started to take a heavy toll. Lisa became vocal about the exhaustion of constant filming. Juggling both Ice Road Truckers and the even more demanding Deadliest Roads spin-off left her drained. She described having panic attacks and feeling suffocated by the cameras. Her life no longer felt like her own. People on the street saw the Ice Road Queen character, not Lisa Kelly the person, and would ask why she wasn't smiling more. This immense pressure led her to make a shocking decision. At the peak of her fame, she walked away from the show before Season 6, needing a break to protect her own peace of mind. It was a powerful choice, a clear sign that the reality of the show was far more damaging than the adventurous image on screen. While she did return in Season 7, her relationship with the spotlight was forever changed. The truth, then, isn't about a fight with Alex. It's about the fact that they were living in two different realities under the same show banner. Alex was the legend who adapted to fame. Lisa was the trailblazer who was almost consumed by it. The story of Lisa and Alex is a powerful reminder that what we see on reality TV is never the full picture. If you're finding this look behind the scenes of Ice Road Truckers compelling, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. we have more untold stories from your favorite shows coming your way. Now, let's get back to the divergent paths. These two legends took after the cameras stopped rolling. When Ice Road Truckers aired its final episode in 2017, the lives of Lisa Kelly and Alex Debogorski went in directions that perfectly mirrored their personalities. The end of the show was a fork in the road. One embraced the legacy of his on-screen character, while the other retreated to the quiet solitude that drew her to trucking in the first place. Alex Debogorski, the man who was a trucker long before. He was a TV star, smoothly transitioned into the role of an industry elder statesman. As the only cast member in all 11 seasons, his identity was tied to the show, and he embraced it. He continued driving the ice road seasonally, but also used his fame to connect with fans. He became a published author with his memoir, King of the Road, and even started a program for a trucker's internet radio station, continuing his role as the master storyteller. Well into his 70s, he scaled back his driving, but remains a fixture at truck shows and community events, always ready with a story. Alex's post-show life has been one of continuity. He didn't run from the character he played on TV, he merged it with his real life. Lisa Kelly's journey couldn't have been more different. For her, the end of the series was a chance to reclaim the life that reality TV had made so complicated. While Alex leaned into the public eye, Lisa actively stepped back from it. Her story isn't one of seeking more fame, but of a deliberate return to her roots. She kept doing what she loved, trucking, but on her own terms, far away from any production, crew. Today, she is still hauling freight on the tough roads of Alaska, living a relatively quiet life in Wasilla with her husband, Travis. Her post-show life has been defined by a desire for privacy. She has a more reserved social media presence, but a massive fan base of over 750,000 people still follows her adventures on Facebook. Her posts are raw and real, showing her working on her truck, dealing with road delays, or spending time with her beloved horses, which have always been her anchor. The death of her close friend and business partner Daryl Ward in 2016 was a devastating blow, but she persevered. This quiet resilience is the hallmark of her post-IRT career. She didn't disappear. She just shifted gears, choosing the satisfaction of a job well done over the chaos of stardom. The contrast in their paths is the most telling revelation of all. Alex made his fame work for him, while Lisa found peace by walking away from it. The story of Lisa Kelly and Alex Debogorski on Ice Road Truckers is about way more than just two drivers. It's a masterclass in the invisible pressures of reality TV. For a decade, we saw them as two sides of the same coin. Alex, the wise patriarch, who was right at home in the spotlight, and Lisa, the quiet trailblazer whose skill was undeniable. On the surface, they were colleagues on the Dalton Highway, but the real truth about them isn't some hidden feud. It's that they were navigating two completely different realities. Alex, with decades of life experience, treated the show like an interesting new chapter, adapting his persona for the cameras. Lisa, younger and carrying the weight of being a symbol for women in trucking, faced a unique and crushing pressure. She battled the elements, the network's perceptions, and the emotional toll of having her life turned into a TV character. Her decision to step away to save her sanity, and her later retreat to a more private life, says it all. It shows that the unified image we saw on TV was just that, an image. Behind the scenes, these were two people on very different personal journeys. Their story peels back the curtain on the manufactured world of reality TV and the real human cost behind the spectacle. Their legacy is twofold. Together, they defined a show that brought a hidden world into our living rooms. Individually, their paths, since the show ended, offer a powerful lesson. Alex remains the beloved king of the road, a legend who merged his life with his public persona. Lisa, meanwhile, is a testament to the power of self-preservation, an icon who chose authenticity over fame, reminding us all that sometimes the bravest thing you can do is walk away and reclaim your own story. What do you think is the biggest pressure reality TV stars face that we never get to see? Let us know in the comments below.